Hello everyone, I am Crawlers and I kind of wanted to rant a little bit about Battlefield 4 today in general. I mean, it's a great game and an awesome achievement, a cool new toy for us to play with, supposed to be this shiny new thing, but every time that they post something new on Battlelog, and by they I mean DICE of course, what top comment do you see? Fix the fucking game, right? They post a new patch, which by the way breaks something in the game. I'm willing to bet my bottle of vodka on that. And the top comment, of course, again is fix the fucking game, right? And obviously, all this profanity is directed at the so-called netcode, right? Referring, of course, to the experience, to what happens when you go into multiplayer online and try to shoot something, right? And usually get either no hit markers or get shot around the corner or get catapulted into the side of a building and insta-killed. And add to that the no warning death in Battlefield 4, unlike Battlefield 3, where you might have been able to hear a couple of shots or maybe one shot and hide before usually getting killed, with a follow-up shot, or maybe, fire back and have a chance to kill the other guy. And the one-hit kill wonders that seem to be not to be able to want to fix, by DICE. And you've got the recipe for rage-induced keyboard breakage and degrading to COD-like yo mama comments. So now, no matter how good you probably are, you're gonna lose the gunfight anyway to one of 1,000 glitches that DICE just doesn't seem to get fixed. And meanwhile, of course, a lot of people are gonna be buying Titanfall because the game is running on an already proven time and time again source engine, which, runs nearly perfectly in multiplayer mode. And that's a pretty damn big deal of an FPS game, the online bit, because, let's face it, that's what people buy it for. I mean, Battlefield 4 has, the incredible visuals, the massive maps, the sound effects, the vehicular combat, and the destruction and just awesome power of Frostbite 3 engine pretty much puts you in the war, but if you're not going to be providing a good enough multiplayer experience for the actual gunplay on the ground, then, all of that just means fuck all. And I gotta say, I'm kind of glad for the Titanfall guys and, Respawn Entertainment in a strange way, because I feel a big part of it is putting the screws to Activision and the bastardized Infinity Ward that, with this new game will show the world that Titanfall isn't just Call of Poopy with mechs. By the way, a lot of people have been asking this, so I'll clarify. Kal means feces in Russian. It's my own personal fuck you to Activision. I'll be honest here, I did enjoy the shit out of Call of Poopy 4, as I'm sure many other Battlefield players did, but what they did with the series after COD 4 is just disgraceful, and I think they should suffer from it. Milking gamers for money. And meanwhile, in Battlefield 4, Rush kind of died out, and I sure as hell don't want to play it anymore. It seems to be very unbalanced team-wise. The maps they aren't designed too well like they were in Battlefield 3. The rounds have too few tickets for attackers. I don't know if it's been fixed by DICE, but you don't see a lot of Rush servers anyway nowadays. And Domination kind of took over as the small game mode from TDM. It's very much like TDM, it's got smaller maps, no vehicles, and fast capping objectives. So, whenever I feel like, upgrading my weapons, and I feel bad about not PTFOing at all, I go to domination, because obviously as a Russian, PTFO is in my blood. And the commander mode, which made a comeback in Battlefield 4, it's quite a bit lacking, I think. I mean, I haven't played Battlefield 2 Commander, but this one is just boring. And this has nothing to do with the fact that I'm a little pissed because I can't play Commander in the shitter now on my old iPad, first generation iPad that needs iOS 6 to run the Commander app on it. I mean, the Commander is kind of 10 minutes or more of nothing, followed by 20 seconds of nail-biting, hair-pulling action of will my cruise missile hit before that got tank moves, or will the other commander put down his proxy attack on me. So the mode that was supposed to be the most tactical in the game became, the least tactical in reality. I mean, the commander just has very, very few tools, offensive and defensive, at his disposal, and 99% of the time he's just, spamming UAV and supplies. And I mean, no one listens to his orders anyway. And the AC-130 gunship is really cool, but too easily destroyed, and has very small radius of attack. This after it was pretty OP in Battlefield 3, I think, that they severely nerfed it to, well, they actually nerfed a lot of things when it came to Battlefield 4. The revived battles now have to be charged. Some weapons, like the ASVL, got very debilitating stats, like the 3.5 first shot multiplier. And burst weapons are all but gone from the game, and no one cares to use them anymore. And don't even get me started on the revolvers. I mean, they are just made unplayable. And not to mention the DMRs, the DMR fiasco. I mean, especially in the beginning, that was horrible. And no one wanted to use them. But that was what the beta was for, wasn't it? Why didn't they give us all the weapons like Battlefield 3 beta in the Battlefield 4 beta? The purpose was to test them, to test the gunplay, wasn't it? Still kind of feels like the beta to a lot of people 4 months after release now. And many just left after they got fed up with it, And now with the supposed new fixes coming out to fix the older fixes and what they have done previously in the previous patches, they've added the "it's not my fault, it's your connection" icons to the game that now flash when you're lagging, as if you didn't know you were lagging or rubber banding. And now they want to add even more of these icons to the next patch. Oh goody. Thankfully they seem to be aware of the broken, collision models on things like the tunnel of death on Zavod 311, that you can shoot into but you can't shoot out of, and the goddamn annoying zero health bug, where you get killed by someone with supposedly zero health because the server predicted that the killer would have 0 HP because the dying player fired some shots after he was supposedly dead, and a portion of the dealt damage was, quote, rejected by the server. So supposedly they're promising a fix for that in the next update. But honestly, these so-called network troubleshooting icons, which they're adding even more of, as I said, just seem to be a way to shift the blame on us rather than their crappy quality control. And they're still, quote, investigating, as if to say, as it says on the battle log, the sprinting deaths, which, as I've said, I've had my fair share of. You sprint and you die because you were killed by death, or dice as I call it. And the kill camera player death camera delay, which again they seem to be quote investigating. I hope they are, obviously, but over 4 months into the game release is a little too late if you ask me. And as another user, whose name I don't remember right now, rightfully remarked, it's a little too late, you know. See, I pre-ordered my game even before it came out, so I paid full price for this broken piece of software, and then I paid full price for premium. So, you know, should I have known it would take 4, 5, 6 months to fix, I'd buy it in March or something for half price, because that's what it is right now on Origin, you know, and I could have saved a lot of money. And I'm sorry, but the headshot icon that they've added to the game is just an insult. More often than not, I see the headshot icon when I shouldn't see it, you know, when I've obviously not been headshot. And another dude put it well. He said, I've been getting headshot icons when I've been catapulted into a wall and suicided by the wall. And the scam here is that DICE showed it as a headshot. So, you know, the wall headshot him. And I had a ton of these things happen to me. In fact, 2 hours ago I was playing a pistol-only server to rank up the horribly inadequate 44, and I was sprinting, holding shift, and it slammed me into a wall and took 13% of my health. You know, there was no one shooting at me, without a doubt, there was no one shooting at me. So, you know, there it is. Still, everything looks awesome. I mean, the environment, the grass, the sky, you know, it's beyond whatever any other game has, you know, has put out there right now. There are even damn parrots and butterflies flying around. I mean, where else are you going to see that? Guns obviously look awesome, of course, and the customization is very visual, you know, not unlike something we saw in Medal of Honor Warfighter. And not surprising, since the new DICE LA studio used to be the Danger Close studio that was responsible primarily for Medal of Honor, which we all know how that ended. Too much of the same thing, not enough change and upgrades, you know, turned gamers off eventually to the game, especially seeing how little they put the Frostbite 2 engine to work in the actual game. I mean, people were expecting probably bigger maps and destruction, not COD style gunplay, you know, on tiny maps. But other than that, I think Battlefield 4 had a few nice design decisions, design changes, and several things that I would consider real cool. Like the switches you have for the lights and the raising of the bollards and lowering blinds on many maps. You know, the containers with doors you can close. Elevators were a nice touch. People will probably hate me for this, but I like the idea of counter-knifing. I don't think it's OP at all. And I don't think it doesn't require timing skill. You see, what a lot of people don't realize is that you can only counter-knife someone while standing and only in a frontal attack. So, you know, if you were stupid enough to knife someone in their face, then I think you should be counter-knifed, and that's just how it goes, you know. And I also like the little animations that the character does, but most people don't feel, you know, don't pay attention to these things and don't realize they're there. Like when you go through some shallow water, the player sort of raises their weapon above the water surface a little bit. Or a recon player, if a recon player laces a target for you and you hit it with an engineer, a missile or something like that, the recon character turns his head and sort of winks at you like, yeah, I did that, you're welcome. And the points given out as you capture a flag and not at the end of the cap were a nice touch. I always used to get killed at the last second in Battlefield 3 while capping a flag and lost all points. Needless to say, I was not amused. But I will say that I liked the Russian in Battlefield 3 more than in Battlefield 4. First off, there was a lot of swearing. In fact, the first time I heard a Russian character drop a particularly juicy swear in the game, I really couldn't believe it. I thought it came outside of Battlefield. I thought I had some other window open on the computer and the sound came from there, like TV or YouTube or something. But besides that, besides this swearing, some of the Russian just doesn't make a lot of sense now. In fact, it doesn't make any sense. Like, a Russian character would say, "Вижу вражеский," and then something like jet or LAV, which is gibberish in real life because, you see, "Вижу вражеский" means enemy spotted or I see enemy something, but jet doesn't mean anything. You see, it's just English jet said in Russian, and obviously Russian wouldn't say an English word. That makes no sense. And the same with the LAV. It says LAV, but it doesn't make a lot of sense because obviously the Russian LAV would be the BTR or бронетранспортер, which literally means armored transporter or armored personnel carrier. And there's also an apparent glitch where you spot an enemy vehicle and the Russian character will yell out that he is planting C4. So, I don't know, I expected more. I still hope very much DICE can pull itself out of this mess of a game, of a release that they made. I mean, the DLCs are a good way to do this. And while China Rising sucked, at least according to me, Second Assault I think really stepped up and showed us how cool the gameplay can be. So, thanks for watching my rant, and thanks for staying to the end if you've lasted that long. And please rate, and share these videos, it helps my channel grow. And remember, in Soviet Russia, YouTube subscribes you.